You think you know Hollywood scandals, but what if I told you some of your favorite celebrities were raised by hitmen, drug smugglers, bank robbers, and fugitives? These aren't rumors, these are court records, prison sentences, and FBI files. Behind the red carpets are families with blood on their hands. Let's start with one of the most beloved actors in the world, Woody Harrelson. In movies, he often plays the lovable outlaw, but his real-life father was the genuine article. Charles Harrelson wasn't just a criminal, he was a professional hitman. In 1979, he became the first person in American history to assassinate a federal judge. He was hired by a drug lord to kill U.S. District Judge John H. Wood Jr. outside his home in Texas. Woody's dad was convicted and sentenced to 2 life terms. Woody has said in interviews that he visited his father in prison for years, trying to reconcile the dad he loved with the cold-blooded killer the world knew. The violence in Charlize Theron's childhood was even more personal. The Oscar winner grew up on a farm in South Africa with an alcoholic and abusive father. One night in 1991, when Charlize was just 15, her father came home drunk and threatened to kill both her and her mother with a shotgun. He actually fired shots through Charlize's bedroom door. To save their lives, her mother Gerda grabbed her own handgun and shot him dead. It was ruled strictly as self-defense, and no charges were filed, but Charlize spent years telling the press her father died in a car accident, just to avoid the trauma of explaining the truth. Then there is Terrence Howard. The Empire star witnessed something truly horrific as a child in what became known as the Santa line slaying. In 1971, when Terrence was just a toddler, he was waiting in line to see Santa Claus at a department store. His father, Tyrone Howard, got into an argument with another man in the line. The argument turned physical, and Tyrone stabbed the man to death in front of his family. He served 11 months for manslaughter, a traumatic event that Terrence says shaped his entire view of the world. And we can't forget Nicki Minaj. The queen of rap has been open about her father's violent past, but many fans don't know how dark it got. Her father, Robert Mirage, was a severe drug addict with a history of violence. In a truly terrifying incident, he actually set fire to the family's house in Queens while Nicki's mother was still inside, effectively attempting to kill her. Miraculously, her mother escaped the flames, but the trauma of growing up with a father capable of that level of destruction is something Nicki has carried with her entire career. If you think that's wild, let's talk about Jackie Chan. His life story is literally a movie. We know him as a martial arts legend, but his parents were deep in the Hong Kong underworld. His father was a spy for the nationalist government and a gangland boss, while his mother was an opium smuggler. In fact, the way they met is legendary. Jackie's dad arrested his mom for smuggling opium, but instead of taking her to jail, he fell in love with her. They eventually fled to Australia to leave that life behind. While Jackie's parents left the life, Leighton Meester's parents were right in the thick of it. The Gossip Girl star has one of the most insane origin stories in Hollywood. She was literally born in a federal prison. Her mother, Constance, was serving time for her involvement in a massive drug smuggling ring that moved marijuana from Jamaica to the US. Leighton was cared for in a halfway house for the first few months of her life while her mother finished her sentence. Keanu Reeves also has a painful connection to the drug trade. His father, Samuel Nowlin Reeves, abandoned the family when Keanu was just a toddler. He spent years trafficking heroin and cocaine. In 1994, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison after being caught at Hilo Airport in Hawaii with large amounts of heroin. Keanu has been estranged from him for decades, calling his father's story tragic. And then there is the rap legend Tupac Shakur. His revolutionary spirit was in his DNA. His mother, Afeni Shakur, was a high-ranking member of the Black Panther Party. In 1969, while she was pregnant with Tupac, she was arrested and charged with conspiracy to bomb police stations in New York. She successfully defended herself in court and was acquitted just 1 month before Tupac was born. His stepfather, Mutulu Shakur, wasn't so lucky. He spent decades in prison and was on the FBI's most wanted list for an armored truck robbery. Moving away from drugs, we have the bank robbers. You know Tobey Maguire as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but his father, Vincent Maguire, made a desperate choice that landed him behind bars. In 1993, shortly after Tobey started getting acting roles, his dad robbed a bank in broad daylight near their home in California. He didn't even wear a mask. He was caught almost immediately and served 2 years in prison. Tobey has said his dad was desperate and not a bad man, just one who made a terrible mistake. Hope Solo, the Olympic goalkeeper, had a much more complicated relationship with her father. He was a Vietnam vet, but also a con man and embezzler. He was essentially homeless for parts of her childhood and once kidnapped Hope and her brother for a vacation that was actually him fleeing the law. Despite all this, she remained close to him until his death, often driving him to his court dates. And finally, we have the tragedy of Marlon Brando. This is a case where the celebrity is the parent. In 1990, Marlon's son, Christian Brando, shot and killed his half-sister's boyfriend, Dag Drolet, in the living room of Marlon's Hollywood Hills estate. Christian claimed it was accidental, but he was convicted of manslaughter and served 5 years. The trial was a media circus, with Marlon Brando famously taking the stand, crying, and telling the court, "I failed as a father." From hitmen fathers to mothers born in prison, these stories prove that talent can come from the most unlikely places. It shows that no matter where you start, even if it's in a federal penitentiary, you can still write your own ending. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's dark side.